can't say that though, because
I can. I just did.
You just don't like Quinn.
You are literally the problem with English rugby and fans. Is that as soon as you lose a game, you just say every single person needs to change.
We should be winning Grand Slams. We're England for crying out loud. I'd rather have Brees do that under a high ball than bloody Elliot Daly, who's actually got to be the worst 15 in world rugby at the moment. Hello and welcome back to Much Ado About Rugby, your weekly rugby podcast where we chat about everything rugby. Today we're going to talk about the France-Wales game to begin with. So let's jump right into it. Maxine, thoughts on the France-Wales game? We all know what happened. Yeah. Wales lost the Grand Slam. Oh my days, they are rubbish. They are rubbish.
Yeah.
Maxine, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what an ending to a game. Like, I definitely didn't expect France to come back, but all in all, I'm pretty pleased that they did, because I really did not want Wales to win the Grand Slam.
All I can say is that France definitely deserved to win. Like, they outplayed Wales in attack mainly. I mean, Wales seemed pretty clinical when they got into the 22, but France just are a better side. Like, it's simple as that. Like, the other teams that Wales have beaten in this championship, like, they were better sides as well. This Welsh team, I don't think nearly even close to deserve to be in that situation where they were on the verge of a Grand Slam. Like, they should have lost to Scotland. They should have lost to Ireland. The only match they probably deserved to win, apart from the Italy match, was the England game, because England actually gifted them the win with the amount of penalties we conceded. And yeah, even then, the dodgy referees' decision calls that we've already spoken about. So I massive relief for me as an England fan. I mean, I know everyone says that you should hate the French, but I like the French.
They're just dying to watch. That's the thing. Shall we talk a bit about how the game? I don't know about you guys, but I thought as soon as Intermac came on, just kind of completely flipped the way France played. He's more of like a controller, whereas Jalibert is more of like just a creative player. He's like less in control of the flow of the game, whereas I feel it made a big impact when Intermac came on.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. I mean, we all know how good Intermac is. Like, he was a shoot. I remember before he was injured, him and Dupont were just absolute shoo-ins. I don't think Jalibert was even in the conversation whatsoever. I think it's only because Jalibert we've seen him play so well that he's even in the conversation. But I think, yeah, he showed class, just like controlling the game, even the last 10 minutes. Like, France went the length, which was pretty insane. I especially loved it because the commentators were like, they're wasting so much time. Stop wasting the time at the other end. You only have 5 minutes. Then you just go and win the game, regardless of time. Completely disproving the commentator.
Dumb. Commentators are dumb.
Yeah.
What did you guys think? Like, going into that last 5 minutes, France, like, let's say, like, France had got that try near the end. They went over from a pick and go. I think it was Olivon, the captain, that went over, and then they kind of got the ball back and were kind of close to going again, and everyone thought they would. What was your guys' thoughts at that moment in time, like, with regards to the way that the match was going to pan out and who was going to win? Because obviously France needed the try, which they eventually got, but at that particular point in time, what was your guys' thoughts?
They just the momentum completely switched towards as soon as they had the 2 yellow cards for Wales, the momentum. I think they just had a massive mindset change. Like, France knew they had the upper hand. All they had to do was just play through the phases and not knock it on. And even though they did, they luckily got it back by that bloody sealing off by, I don't even know who that was. That was literally the most stupid thing ever, that lost in the game.
Yeah,
but
I just can't stand the whole sealing off penalties. I don't really get it, because like, I see so many breakdowns that people seal off every time, and it just seems like 1 in 10 they just randomly give a penalty. Like, I
disagree. The thing is, the whole way through that set of phases that Wales went through before giving away that penalty, they definitely were not sealing off, and you could see it. You could see that it was going to happen once, because the way that they were going into contact, they weren't trying to make any ground, and that's the most dangerous thing to do. If you're not trying to make any ground in the tackle, it's so easy for the support player to just come in and flop on top of you. And that is exactly what happened.
No, Ed, I disagree. I really think they were sealing off like a lot of breakdowns before that. And not even in that phase of play. I just think in general throughout that game and the other games this weekend, people seal off so many breakdowns and no one, like the ref doesn't ping it. And I just think, I don't know. I think it's quite harsh on Wales that he's pinging that at that time. But then again, it's
but they were giving away so many penalties. So they
off.
just like, it's one of those things where they just get in the ref's mind. They're like, oh, they're just being like reckless. They're not even like trying.
Yeah, I know, but it shouldn't. Like a referee should be impartial. It's like
I don't know, but that's the. But I don't. I think at the same time, if if the team's giving away countless penalties and just being reckless, then he's going to keep like going wide. It's like he's going to get a bit like impatient of them. Like he did keep telling him, "Come on, you need to not give away any penalties. Just be disciplined. Like do what you were doing the first half." And they just kept on giving away penalties, and they kind of got what they deserved.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side to that, it's also refreshing because I think you see a lot of the time, literally a minute to go, teams around the halfway line trying to just play down the clock. And so many times I've seen them sealing off and been like, what are they doing? This should not be allowed. Because there's no way France could, like the other team could even compete at the breakdown. And clearly, I can't remember who the ref was exactly, but I thought he had a great game in general. He's English, so as you expect.
Pierce and Wayne Barnsley. Wayne Barnsley in the box in the van outside.
Yeah. But I mean, so many times you don't see that penalised. I mean, from an English perspective and for the French, obviously, they're really quite pleased about that. But to answer your question, Ed, in that moment in time, I thought that there's obviously absolutely no way that France were going to win it.
Such a pessimist, just such a pessimist. Like,
I just a minute to go, and Wales are literally playing.
But man up, and they had
I was so optimistic. I genuinely thought Wales were always going to seal off. It was the most blatant penalty. And you can go back and look at that phase of play. Like all the other ones, they're literally, like if they did flop on top, it's literally straight back to their feet, like making it so obvious to the referee that they made an effort to stay on their feet. But that one that they gave away was the most blatant penalty I've ever seen it in my life. And I think the ref did an absolutely fantastic job all day. I mean, the only really like different call I possibly disagreed with was the one where Josh Adams supposedly scored when it was so obviously held up. Like you never saw, like I think it was Cretin getting his hand under the ball. So other than that, I thought the referee had an absolutely impeccable game. Definite penalty. I mean, the red card all day, in my opinion. Like he's gouged his eye. You know where your hand is. You can feel when it's on someone's face. And if it's not on his face, then it's round the neck. So it's a yellow card anyway. And it's off for the next 10 minutes. So I think France definitely deserved to win, basically. I think they took advantage of Welsh mistakes, Welsh unclinicality, if that's even a word. And Louis Samet didn't finish in the corner. So
who are your like standout players from the games then? Because obviously I don't know. I don't even know who man the match was. Anyone know who he was?
No, but I think Brice Dulin had an absolutely outstanding game. Martin Johnson, for some reason, slating him, saying he couldn't catch a high ball. Honestly, I'd rather have Brice Dulin under a high ball than bloody Elliot Daly, who's actually got to be the worst 15 in world rugby at the moment. Like, he can run it a little bit. But when was the last time he made like a proper line break for England?
Yeah, I don't know.
When was the last time he caught a contested high ball? Like it's actually
Daly is getting on. He needs to get out. Really, I don't even know. England have a bit of a problem. Obviously, we'll come to talk about this in the England game. But yeah, I agree. Dulin is just miles ahead, and even with like Hugo Keenan, I think he's miles ahead of Daly as well, and obviously Hogg as well.
I agree with that. But with regards to like
15.
Yeah, for like standout players in that France game, I also thought, who is like ridiculously versatile? Fiku, like what was he's literally
outrageously good player.
When he goes on the wing, he is mad. Why do they not just play him on the wing the whole time? He's like
He's sick when he's not on the wing though.
He's just a really, really good player wherever you play him. He'll slot in anyway. He's got to be one of the most versatile backs in the world. He's also massive. I'm not sure people realize how big he is.
Yeah.
And whenever he carries, he always makes meters. Okay, here's a great question, because speaking about how well the French played, and how well they did to kind of come back from a almost not impossible situation, but one that looked very ominous for them. Which French players would make a British and Irish Lions if the French were included in it? Just say some names.
I think start.
Which players wouldn't, Ed?
Going from 1 to 15, I think Marchand the hooker. I think he's been pretty sick. What's it called? Who's the lock? But it wasn't the guy who got the red card. I thought he was really good yesterday. I think Olivon, Aldrit, they're pretty good as well. I think one of them would get in the Lions, to Pont and to Mac.
I don't think Aldrit or Olivon would make the Lions team.
Really? I think they would. I think one of them would. I think one of them would.
Vakatawa.
I don't think Vakatawa had a very good game yesterday, to be honest. I thought he was all right.
He was bouncing people left, right, and centre.
Let's face it, Vakatawa's the French equivalent of Manu Tuilagi. Like, you just can't really stop him, can you?
Yeah.
Like,
okay. The people that definitely make it are Dupont and Ntamak. To be perfectly honest with you, I think Ntamak would make Lions 10 quite easily. From the pack, I think Marchand and the others would be like touch and go, and then Brice Dulin, I think, would probably be a shoo-in as well.
I'd probably pick Hogg still over him.
Yeah, I'd probably pick. I mean, like, I think he'd be in the matchday squad.
Against the South African, like, very physical South African side, I'd probably have to have Hogg.
Yeah,
I'd probably pick Hogg actually.
Other
than that,
I'd take Fiku. Like, he's just so versatile. He's a bit of like a Henry Stay, which is why Henry Stay kind of has to go on the tour, because Henry Stay can play everywhere as well. So. Like, when you have that kind of player.
He doesn't have the physicality of Fiku. Like, Fiku was playing like a forward for the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, he did a better job at flanker than Cretin, not gonna lie.
Yeah. What a cretin. Vakatawa as well. I think he would make a team as well. I mean, we know the Lions are going to have like a fairly hard time at 13, so I think Vakatawa would probably sort them out in the absence of Tuilagi, who would be a shoo-in if it weren't for injury in the Lions.
The French just have balls, mate. They have massive, great, big, fat balls. Like, to run it at the end and like have a flanker, like not someone you'd necessarily. He's also so tall and so big, Charles Olivon, to give that final pass to Brice Dulin. Like, it was Fiku as well that gave that second last pass in the final play as well. He like fixed the man so well, gave it once, and then Olivon just had a simple job of passing out wide. But like, that's ballsy, man. I would not want to be part of that.
They always. The reason they do it is because they're really good at it. They do it all the time in like Champions Cup. For some reason, the French teams always have late comebacks, like and winning like last final play tries. They're so jammy.
Give us some examples, please, mate. Sorry, I don't trust your rugby knowledge.
So when Racing beat Sarries last year, they scored a try in last minute. Toulon.
Try born in Scotland, mate. That was Finn Russell.
So it doesn't matter. It's just a game. It's same day experience, isn't it? It doesn't matter who scores the final try. Like, they can actually like win in the final play. And I think Vakatawa actually set that try up.
I think it was Juan Imhoff that scored in the end. So
well, Vakatawa set it up. I'm just saying, it's like
out there. You know nothing about rugby.
I'm just saying the top 14 sides clearly have experience in winning in like tough situations in cup games. I don't think Wales players in comparison have that kind of experience, like of winning in final plays, and they wouldn't run at the pitch like France did. I think that's the main attribute.
Who stood out for Wales then? Who stood out for Wales?
Don't really know.
Louis Zammit? Can we talk about Louis Zammit?
You don't care anymore because they lost. Like, Wales just rubbish. Let's face it.
Dan Bigger stood out for me. I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah. Is he
Yeah,
going to play
pretty
for the
good.
Lions?
Yeah, I think he'll play for the Lions. Like, I think he'll go on the tour at least. I don't think he'll start. Actually, maybe he will. I just don't think his passing is like, or like, I don't know. I don't have that much confidence in him. But like, you have
Won't
his
start.
kicking. I think is good. Like under the high ball, he's actually really good as well. Dan Bigger at 15, maybe.
What the hell?
Yeah, mate, that's a dangerous runner from from the back. And bigger.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
so is Lee Halfpenny was Lions 15 for 2 tours, and he can't run for shit.
Yeah,
So,
mate. Didn't need to. He wasn't in the team for his running. He was in the team for his dank goal kicking.
I want to chat about Lou Rees-Zammit. Do you think how do you think his game was yesterday? Because I think I was pointing out to Ed just before this episode that if he was actually gassing it, he could have made that tackle at the end to stop Reece Doolan going over.
If you watch it back, Lou Rees-Zammit is jogging. What kind of international rugby player
That's
on
what
the verge of a grand slam jogs? Lazy.
he was less than
Bad
jogging.
player.
jogging. He was not jogging, man.
Mate, honestly,
Have
go
you
and watch the replay. He is literally not running at all. Like he's not sprinting.
Have you seen him sprint before, Maxon? Have you seen how fast he is? He could literally
never
run the
gonna
100 meters
make
in
it.
about
No,
3
mate,
seconds.
mate, he could have. I actually think he could have. Like by the time he was about, by the time it got to Fiku, he was about the halfway po. He was on like over halfway of the halfway pit of the pitch, of the width of the pitch. And by the time it gets to Doolan, he's like halfway again. He's like another quarter of the way there. And if he had been, that's with him jogging, not even sprinting. So if he had actually sprint, I reckon he could have made it.
He's rubbish.
He's
basically,
running
is
at
what
less
we're
than
saying.
50% of the speed he can.
No
Obviously, he's gonna be a bit
passion.
knackered, but you kind of have to final play. You have to kind of just gas it and just try to get that final tackle.
No passion, no skill. Couldn't even get that final try in the corner. Awful player. Shouldn't be in the line. Shouldn't be even in the Wales team. Play Alex Cuthbert on the wing.
No, mate.
Did anyone see the other day, last weekend actually, Alex Cuthbert got absolutely murdered by Joe Marler. Honestly, I think Joe Marler's actually got to be one of the best props in the world right now. He's absolutely mental. He's crazy good. His scrummaging, his hands as well is so much better. Like his carrying as well. Oh my days, Joe Marler's just.
We are kind of missing him in England. Shall we talk about the England game? Shall we move on to England? I think we've talked about the Wales-France game long enough.
Do we have to talk about the England game?
I think we do. I think we do, mate. Because obviously, like we came from beating France, which is obviously the best team in the Six Nations in their P. We beat them though to then lose to Ireland, who I personally don't think are nearly as bad as any. I think they're just.
No, I don't think anyone thinks Ireland are a bad team. I just don't think
You guys did. You literally were slaying them all this tournament.
Yeah, they weren't very good. They weren't very good before, man. They weren't. England absolutely dominated them the last time.
No, but this whole Six Nations, they've been pretty solid team. And you guys been like, nah, they're just not that good though, are they? But they have been good. Yeah, but they have been good. They have been good. Like obviously,
no, they're really good. I know they're good, but they're just not that good.
So annoying. No, because they just got a solid squad and they're just physical. That's the thing. Compared to England, they're just physical. Like if you're taking the ball up with that much physicality, you're gonna win in those one-to-one collisions.
Here's the problem with England. We are missing Joe Launchbury. He's dank. Joe Launchbury is one of the best.
The answer to England's problem.
Ed, you're chatting so much shit. Mate,
I've got more players.
Joe Launchbury didn't even start when he was fit.
It's just he did as well. Are you kidding me?
No,
he started alongside
no,
Maratona. Who did? Who did start?
Joe Launchbury is not the reason, mate, that we are not playing well.
He's not the only reason. He's one of them. I've got more players. Don't worry. I've got only one finger up, you dweeb.
The reason we're not playing well is not because we're missing players.
Yes, it is. It 100% is. We're missing Joe Launchbury. We're missing Sam Underhill. We're missing Manu Tuilagi. We miss Henry Slade. We're missing a good fullback as well.
Okay, but I don't think that's the reason why we didn't win that game.
I'm
Because
sorry,
even
you add in Sam Underhill, he completely changes the look of the whole back row. Suddenly you have
we
the
add in
best
Sam
defensive back
Underhill,
row in the world.
we add
And
in
then
Sam Underhill, and the same key players still play shit. It doesn't make a difference. We still give away the same amount of penalties.
but Sam
Like,
Underhill plays well, so we win.
no, 'cause
Manu
no, why?
Tuolangi changes the back line from being an outrageous piece of shit to an outrageously good, dank back line.
Yeah, but that's not the reason we lost. The reason we lost because we give away too many penalties, and secondly, our best players just don't turn up. Like they didn't have good games, and also
I don't
Ireland.
think Maritoja even played that badly. I think he had a decent game. Made a couple.
Well, I'm not talking. Yeah, well, for example, like I think Johnny May had a pretty shit game. I thought.
What's he meant to do? He can't. He never gets the ball because we can't like spread it wide enough. Elliot Daly can't pass.
Yeah, I thought Ollie Lawrence was quite bad, to be honest. Did absolutely nothing.
Had the opportunity to do something like Tuolangi.
I think this is the problem again though with Lawrence. Like they don't play him like they play him as a dummy runner the whole time. That's all they do. And
But Mal, even when they give him the ball, he just got absolutely bumberclatted.
He ran into like 3 people. That was like not really his fault. He ran dummy line, probably wasn't even expecting to get the ball, got it, and just got held.
That is absolute chat, mate. You put Tuolangi on that line or any other massive centre, and they're
not the same though. They are different players. Like Ollie Lawrence isn't
to get to ground. You just have to get to ground. Either go lower and get to ground. Like it's so stupid.
If
man.
I was Ollie Lawrence, I'd be massively lacking confidence right now.
Is rugby that hard?
He shouldn't be playing for England, should he?
No, well, I think he should be given a chance. He's a good player, but he's not given. I think he's not given like a chance by the other players in the team. He doesn't get the ball nearly enough. Like you're only going to get better if you're getting mispassed the whole time. You're probably like brilliant again. Like he's probably just getting pissed off and a bit fed up.
Average. Billy V is average, mate. He's had one good game in the last however long, like one.
2 good games. Last 2 games he played really well.
Mate, Dombrand
against Wales. What we lost, and yeah, he made some meters, but
yeah, he outplayed Faletau.
Outplayed Faletau, clearly not.
You literally said that in the podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm allowed to change my mind, mate. This is the point. I'm a fickle person. I like to change my mind. England is shit. I hate England. I'm French now. I support France.
Ed, do you want to give your case for why Dombrand should be A, or even been in the
because he's just better. Have you seen him play for Harlequins recently? Harlequins put 50 points on a very poor Gloucester side, who I would admit now are one of the worst sides in the Premiership. And
Gloucester in the Champions Cup, mate, and Harlequins aren't. How does that even happen?
You know how well Quins are playing, mate. They're running in tries for fun. 50 points. 50 points they put on, and Gloucester put 24 on them. Yeah, but 50 points.
They're
and this is literally if you look at every move, that Quins basically play, it's always got Andre Esterhazen, Danny Kerr, Marcus Smith, and Alex Dombrand. They're the 4 key players for Quins at the moment. They're always involved in most of the tries, at least. And then you've got good finishers like Tyrone Green and Louis Liner. Like even Caden Murley, he's having a stellar Premiership. Like all these players have put their hands up for like at least 6 games now, at least, if not throughout the last season as well.
Dombrand got 2 tries yesterday.
But who does Dombrand replace? Like you don't even have
Billy
people
Vunipola,
like
Billy
Vunipola. But like you have people like Sam Simmons who aren't being selected. He's beyond Dombrand.
Yeah, but he's a different player. They're different players.
Have them both in. Sam Simmons is a super sub.
I saw the thing where Dom played Dom. I don't know where Dombrand can play, but if you can play it in lock, like I saw someone put him in a lock for the England side, and that was mad.
We've got George Martin off the bench, who actually I didn't think put a foot wrong, to be honest. I thought he did all right, but honestly, what's he offering in comparison to Dombrand?
Why is he coming off the bench for England and not Dombrand? Like, yeah, it's good to get him some experience, but against Ireland in the Six Nations, why not play him against Italy?
I don't understand. Like the way that I think it's working in my head is like, yeah, I would be nervous if you have Don or Simmons on the bench because there's so much hype around them in the Premiership. I'd still be nervous that what if they didn't perform and it was like the biggest flop in the world and they just couldn't translate onto an international level. At the same time, like surely you have to give them an opportunity, especially when England are playing like they are. Like this Saracens contingent, I'm sorry to say, is finally dawning on me that they are just not the ones that are going to get us like anywhere near to where we want to be. Like we should be winning Grand Slams. We're England, for crying down the sink. We should be.
You know whose fault that is? It's literally the clubs in the Premiership like Quins who cried about Sarries and the salary staff, launched an investigation, and that's the reason England Rugby are playing bad at the moment is because of
you can't say that. You can't say that.
All those people.
You can't say because Saracens got relegated for doing something wrong.
Mate. That is clear.
Yeah, but that's you can't be like it's the Quins' fault. Quins what? Teams like Quins
cried about it. It's Quins' own
cheating, which they were. So they got relegated.
It was
now
led by Quins.
Not Saracens' fault, but it's Quins' fault.
I'm telling you, the people that launched the investigation it was Exeter's.
Mate, you can't. There's no argument to it. Saracens cheated, and that's the reason why they're in the Championship.
Yeah, but mate,
okay, yeah, nothing you can say out. Back to that.
No, I'm just saying it's quite funny that they're crying about like kicking out all the Sarries players from the England squad. They literally took us to a World Cup final. Sarries players carried the England team for like that entire tournament. And the years
carried the England team. Sarries players carried the England team.
Yes, they carried the England team.
Way. Manu Tuolangi carried the England team.
No, he didn't. He literally
Underhill carried the England team. Tom Curry, literally our best player at the World Cup was Tom Curry. That's why
mate. Can I just make a point now? The two top try scorers in the Premiership right now are Sam Simmons on 14 tries and Alex Dombrand on 8. So that obviously says something about those two players and why the hell they're not in the England team.
Yeah, but
also, if you get more players, like okay, so clearly Exeter and Harlequins are playing some of the most exciting rugby alongside Bristol.
Exeter are playing poorly at the moment, mate.
Okay, well Bristol and Harlequins then are playing some of the most exciting rugby, very high scoring games. Why do we not want that to translate into the England side? Why do we not want these players to come in and spice it up and stop playing rugby rather than doing this? Like George Ford's kicking was horrendous. Get Marcus Smith in. He'd actually add something different. Like come on, change the guard. It's been 6 years now with Ford and Fowler. I'm just bored of it, man. I'm bored.
I think you can't just quickly. I think you can't quickly switch them out like as easy as that. And I think it's so hard when Fowler is the captain of the team, and because they're such long-standing players, I think that's a really hard thing to say. But I think Smith should be. I don't know. Even in training with the squad, I think will make a difference because then Eddie can actually have a look and see how he fits. But I think by not even giving him a chance in the squad or even in the the shadow squad or however it works, like by not putting them there. They're not even getting a look in at all. They're just being completely passed off.
Yeah, I just don't think there's just no point in like panicking and saying, we need to change the whole team. Ed, literally this time last week you were saying, idiots for saying let's drop everyone after losing a game. Oh, so Ed, you are literally the problem with English rugby and fans is that as soon as you lose a game, you just say every single person needs to change. The reason that we're losing is because we're missing these players. These players aren't good enough, and just
it's way more fun to complain though than it is to say like, oh yeah, we're doing really well, isn't it?
But that's
also I'm a bloody Quins fan. Why would I not want to see more people from my club playing on the top level? Like you're just happy because you've got all your Sarries boys playing shit for England. That's literally it.
Yeah, but I just love. You know what I love most? I just love how fans that aren't England fans that aren't Sarries fans. When the Sarries players are literally and they did carry England to a World Cup final. You guys are like, I'm not even players. As soon as they start playing badly, you're like, oh, screw them, screw Sarries. We hate Sarries. They're Sarries players. Get them out of the team. Like,
I'm
it's
not
literally
saying it's all the Saracens players. I'm saying,
it's so hypocritical.
look,
Start,
there's
you're like riding on the success of the Sarries players, and as soon as they start playing badly, you just want to kick them out because they're Sarries players. It's just
no,
absolutely
it's because they're playing badly, dweeb. Like, for example, Maritoji is a Saracens player, obviously doesn't deserve to get kicked out of the England team because he's been one of our best players for however long now. Like, there's players that definitely deserve their spot.
I don't
think Elliot Daly. I don't think Elliot Daly or Billy Vunipola or even Mako Vunipola, to be honest, really deserve their place. I think Jamie George does. I think he's had a decent Six Nations. But there's certain players who you could easily find replacements for from the Premiership who are playing equally as well. And it's not because they're from Saracens, it's because they're not playing very well.
Yeah, but I think it's quite easy to scapegoat it on those particular players. But
Yeah, and it's also valid.
Ed, try and name a player
outside the England.
Try and name a player from that England team that you'd say is playing well.
From what?
Tom Curry. I'd definitely say Tom Curry.
Tom Curry gave away penalties yesterday like there was no tomorrow.
No, mate, he's doing well. That's one thing that he can...
One bad game.
No,
Tom Curry is playing.
It's so stupid. None of the England players are playing well, and this actually proves the point that the Sarries players are the players that carry England. Because when England play badly,
I think Carl Sinker played really well, actually.
Ed, can I just say, when England play badly, it's instantly blamed on those players because those are the key players in the England team. And when they play well, England play well. But you're not you're just completely discounting all the players that are non-Sarries that didn't turn up as well.
But I think that's partly because the Sarries players happen to be the core of the squad.
Yeah, I know, but this is the point I'm making. Is like,
I don't think it's to do with the fact that they're Saracens players. It just happens to be that they are the players that are the core of the squad, and if without them performing, like if like your most important players stop playing. So say for France, Untitled, Dupont, like Olivon, Aldred, like imagine those guys all stop playing. They'd be like, what's happening? Like that would be obviously pinpointed on them because they are the key players for France.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Like the key players for England, surely you're thinking like, okay, Hooker 9, 10 are essentially your key players, and 8 are your key players in the team.
Ben Youngs is actually playing half decently. Ben Youngs is actually playing well for one.
Awful yesterday, mate. His passing was terrible.
I don't think Ben Youngs has actually been.
His passing was terrible.
I think he's probably been one of the best players England have had this
yesterday. I'm talking about yesterday.
Yeah,
so you're talking about one game.
But you have to look at the Six Nations as a whole.
Let's look at Six Nations as a whole then. Okay, against France, all the Sarries players were incredible. Billy Vunipola had the game of his life. Same with Ben Youngs.
Yeah, but not on a Sarries. Yeah, but in what's
what is this double standard? It's literally a double standard.
It hasn't been very good.
When someone who's non-Sarries player to you guys plays well, oh, they're really good. They deserve their place. When it's the Sarries player that plays well, I believe in a Polar. Oh, he's just played well for one game. Literally is what you're saying. Because Ben Youngs, the only game he played outstandingly well in was against France.
Yeah, he played outstandingly well in that one game, but he hasn't been awful in the other games, I don't think.
I thought he was pretty bad yesterday in attacking positions. He made passes.
I think you're actually mixing up, Max, and that's why things are happening. I think you're holding the Saracens players up on a pedestal so you won't criticize them as they deserve to be criticized. They're not playing for Saracens at the moment. They all they've played is England, and they're in this like little bubble where they just think that they're never going to lose their place, and they're not, because Eddie Jones isn't going to let that happen for some reason. Because when there's actually just better players, you just don't like Quins.
No, I don't.
It's actually the complete
this isn't the point.
I like the Saracens players. I like Maritoji. I like Jamie George. You just don't like Alex Dombrent and Sam Simmons. You prefer Billy Vunipola.
No, I want Sam Simmons in the squad. I think Billy Vunipola is our best Test match 8 by quite a long way.
You can't say that though, because
I can. I just did because it's true. He has the most.
But you don't know what Sam Simmons is like at Test.
I do because I've seen him play Test and he's not that good at Test. Like
yeah, but not right now. You haven't seen him play now when he's in the peak of his form. You probably saw him you've
seen him play Italy in the 2016 Six Nations.
Yeah, that's completely, you can't compare. Like that.
Sam Simmons, he doesn't really like fit the mold of an international 8, and like that's why he's not in the squad at the moment, because he's not like a massive like ball carrying 8.
He's not a massive ball carrying try scoring 8. Oh wait, is he not? He's only scored 14 tries this season. Like he's
And
a
it's the
ball
most
carrying
money
eight.
made.
He carries the
He's
ball and
not.
tries.
He's a ball.
He
He's a
carries the
try
ball
scoring.
so much more.
He's a try scoring
What?
eight,
Oh,
but he's
sorry,
not.
mate.
He's a try scoring eight, but he's not a massive eight like Dwayne Vermeulen, Aldrit, Falatau, Billy Vinapola,
Put
CJ
in
Sanders,
Dombrand then.
all of them. Yeah, fine.
Put
Yeah,
in
I
Dombrand.
accept.
Dombrand's better.
Dombrand
But
offloads as
also,
well.
Ed, you're saying like I don't like Quins, like Marcus Smith. Yeah, I think he should be in the squad. I just think George Ford is an incredible 10. Like I think, and that's not a Sarri's position. Like I back George Ford every day. In fact, like I'd rather Owen Farrell play 10 personally because I think he is the best 10 we have, out and out 10, and he should probably be paying 10.
Yeah, I agree. I agree actually. I think because Farrell's captain, you can't get him out of the team. So just play him at 10 and find someone better for 12. Play Marcus Smith at 10.
Yeah, this
and
is
Farrell at
ultimately the fundamental issue in the back line is we
Centres.
don't have world class centres. Like that is actually it, which forces us to play Farrell at 12 and not at 10, and means we don't have two quality out and out centres. Like we're forced to play Ollie Lawrence at 13. Well, I know we want to give him a chance, but realistically, we shouldn't have to be forced to give someone.
Yeah, we
a
should
chance.
have someone who we should have like our set like centers already.
Exactly. Like we shouldn't be forced to have someone in that position, which is why I personally think like I know he preliminarily had Elliot Daly at 13. Give Elliot Daly a run at 13.
Yeah.
Like because he's
I was
playing
excited for
15.
that.
And I don't think he is. I agree with you. He's not up to it at 15. And like if we had an alternative, I'd say yes, 100%. The alternative is that I think England should do is actually swap and play Anthony Watson at 15 because he's actually a better 15.
Mate. Elliot Daly couldn't catch COVID,
And then-
neither could Anthony Watson.
No, Anthony Watson is way better under the high ball than Elliot Daly, and he actually plays more 15 than Elliot Daly has previously, especially at club. He plays 15 at Bath quite often.
What about
So
Rossi?
that's what I'd say.
Completely forgotten about
Rossi.
Rossi.
And Roy McConaughey should obviously
Unbelievable
back him.
under the high ball. He actually is. I think he's actually unbelievable under the high ball.
Yeah. But I just think like Elliot Daly, for example, like I'm not having like a Sarri's bias by saying that he shouldn't be out of the team. It's just we actually have no better alternative. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, we tried Malin's. Not sure. I don't know.
yeah. Like the thing I look at it as well is like, imagine if we didn't have Owen Farrell in the squad. What the hell would that squad look like? We literally have no world class centers to like run off. I tell you, like if Marcus Smith didn't have like ball going forward and he was playing 10 for England and he had no like 12 or 13 that are like ball carriers or particularly good, like I don't think he'd really like. He has his flair and he has his stat.
If you saw an England team with like someone just completely random at scrum half, I don't know, like Ben Spencer at scrum half, or even mate, I don't understand. Like Danny Care's literally in the form of his career. Like I know he's old, but he still seems to be doing a job. He's scoring tries for fun. Let's face it. Like he still runs support lines for days. Mike Brown's one of the best 15s in the world under the high ball. Get him back in the England team. I know it's Quinn's bias, but it's such valid points. Like he's done it for England before. Why can't these two brilliant players do it again?
I want to make the point, like with informed players, I know it's like I think we have this thing with England where we want to be like playing a experienced team. More, I get the feeling it's more like an experienced side rather than our most informed side, if you get what I mean. Like it's the best, most informed side from a selection of experienced players. But given like looking at Wales, like they have a very solid squad on a whole. Like it's their squad that they have pretty much had like for a lot like last few seasons pretty much. But then they bring in Louis Rees-Zammit on the wing, who's been in form instead of like someone like Amos or I don't know someone who isn't as in form. And because he's carried that form over, he's kind of tearing out. And like although Amos wasn't like I think this is the difference because there's only one number 8 and it's Billy V. It's like taking him out is like such a big deal. Whereas when you have two wingers, it's like easy to go, we'll drop Amos, keep Adams on the wing and play Louis Rees-Zammit on the other wing. Whereas when you're swapping in Dombrand or Simmons, it's like a 1-for-1 swap almost. It's not like you can be like, oh, it's all right, we'll take out Billy V, but then we've got these other guys, which it's, I don't know. I feel it's just a much bigger deal. Swapping your 8.
That's true. That's true. Also, I think it's hard for England as well because, like, I know this sounds quite ridiculous, but there are so many good players in each position. Like, to just go off current form, apart from fullback and centre, as we mentioned, it's so hard to just like go off form. Like, for example, I think Eddie Jones would rather have Tom Curry at 8 than Don Brand and Sam Simmons, which I think is like evidently he would rather that, which is stupid. I agree. And I think Simmons for sure should be in the England squad at the moment. I think he's definitely done enough to
want Don Brand. Give me Don Brand.
You want Don Brand, but I think like I'd like to see. I don't know about Don Brand. Like I've watched him,
the best player ever.
I've watched him. I think he's like I've watched him play, and I think that like his carrying is good, but he's not like a. If you think about how Billy V was back in the day, where he was actually like bouldering people, absolutely, he's actually.
Go and watch the highlights. Billy V can't chuck an offload to save his life. Go and watch Don Brand's highlights, mate.
Don Brand is more of a contemporary like where he carries the ball and he's trying to get the ball and be a bit more creative, get the ball away on offloads.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe England are just so boring in the way that we set up that we don't actually want to offload. We just want to reset and go through the phases, make sure they're all offside. I think that's about everything we could possibly say about England without going on for hours and hours. Let's talk about Ireland instead, because they were obviously the team that beat this poor England side yesterday.
Keith Earls, anyone for Lions?
Keith Earls for the Lions is going to make it. He's actually the most reliable winger in world rugby.
No, I don't know. He's solid, but he's getting on a bit. Like I can't imagine he's going to go on the Lions. There's a lot of other choice. He was good though. He was good.
There's no way.
He was good.
There's
most reliable winger in world rugby. Love Keith Earls. Hate Keith Earls. He does a job. And he's better than Stockdale. So,
God. That other wing, they are a bit iffy.
Stockdale was so poor. Actually, that was one thing. I think it was Lawrence who did it. He just carried like Stockdale into touch. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Literally like a woman's handbag. Like
What do you reckon with the 9-10? Because obviously it just did work yesterday with Murray and Sexton.
Murray's just reliable as well. Just two reliable players. That's the thing.
Yeah. You can tell, okay, Ireland's game plan in that game was to exploit Elliot Daly at fullback.
Yeah.
Like the high balls, the high bombs, and they did that and they did it well. Like they regathered ball off Elliot Daly because he just was terrible under the high ball at 15.
Is it just me, or whenever like a kick goes up that's even closely contested, you just can't see Elliot Daly like jumping and getting it. He just like kind of puts his hands up, looks like a tree for a second, and then either knocks it on, or the Irish player would just come in and take it. Keenan did it fantastically, actually. Keenan's a good player.
Keenan's sick in the air. Keenan's so good in the air.
Mate, I'll tell you who else is absolutely outrageously good. Robbie Henshaw.
Yeah, mate.
I've said it quite a lot. This Six Nations. He is outstandingly good. He doesn't make mistakes.
So good at carrying.
Doesn't make mistakes. He's a strong carrier, and he's a handsome man as well, so we don't mind.
Yeah, I think he's definitely shooing for on Lions tour 100%. Like he's a standout player for Ireland. I think because he had a little bit of a drop off in the last few seasons. Like he's getting
15.
Yeah, he's been kept out the team, and then this Six Nations, he's just been incredible. Like I just feel like he's absolutely everywhere. Like you see someone do something sick and it'll be like, yeah, Henshaw. Like, oh, brilliant.
What about the red card though for the other centre, Bundyaki?
Bundyaki back in the team for the first time in a while.
Kind of blew it, I guess.
I don't know. At the time, I thought it was maybe a bit of a harsh call just because Billy Vanapola is kind of going down slightly. But in hindsight,
Billy Vunipola's kept at the same height the whole way into the carry. So I think that's the problem there. There's literally no mitigation whatsoever. Either you hit on the ball, if you want to hit at that height, you don't go any higher than that. If you hit on the ball, you're fine, but you get boshed by Billy, or you go low and try and chop him down.
Yeah, Billy Vunipola got absolutely bumper classes in the head.
You see his tongue slip out. It was actually horrible. It was like, as he went down, knocked out. Actually, that might be quite good for him. Not to say that it's good that he got knocked out. Obviously, it's terrible, but you know, it might give us a few more options at 8. Who knows?
It was an absolutely awful situation. Like, we literally didn't have Ford or Farrell or Billy Vunipola on the pitch. It's our three.
We still did better than when we had all 3 of them on the pitch.
We really did not, mate. We did not. We had zero direction, and we also player up, which is why, like,
try, mate.
Yeah, we were player up, and down Robson's pass literally was like it wasn't even an overlap. It was just some good footwork from Johnny May, and then he breezed past probably Stockdale. I don't really know. Just scored quite easily, but no, I don't like. I think
it was Keenan.
Was it?
Yeah, I think he was
playing quite well.
Did you know Johnny May can jump just from a standstill? He can jump 67 centimeters off the floor.
Yeah,
67. So if you're imagining, that's like quite high, basically.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's like mental from a standstill. Like, how does he do that? It's just an incredible athlete.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Get Caden Murley in the England team over him.
Yeah. But guys, what I know we've gone back to talking about England again, but like, so
Tyke Byrne's the best player in the Ireland team.
Oh man,
yeah, Tyke Byrne and Robbie Henshaw
and Tyke Furlong. But Ireland players just playing well, honestly.
Oh, Byrne is just the
finally
answer.
Some recognition.
Mate, Byrne is just the answer to problems. I think he's going to keep
problems.
Mate, no, I'm talking. Mate, Ireland's problems and also the Lions' second row selection problems.
Yes. Oh my God, he has to make the Lions.
He's starting for the Lions, surely.
You reckon?
Yes, I really think so. He's so good. He can do everything, mate. He's literally he's taken everyone was gassing up James Ryan, right? He's just where is he when Tyke Byrne's playing?
Yeah,
I said on the group chat yesterday, I was like, Tyke Byrne is the Irish Itoje when Itoje first burst onto the scene.
Yeah, who starts in second row for the Lions at the moment?
Itoje and Byrne. Simple as.
Alan Wynne-Jones.
No,
if they had won that Grand Slam, it would have been Alan Wynne-Jones and captain.
He made 22 tackles yesterday, Alan Wynne-Jones.
It is Gatland as well. You never know what Gatland's going to.
I think it probably will end up being Alan Wynne-Jones. But...
Warren.
He's definitely going to pick Alan Wynne-Jones, isn't he? He's going to pick the most boring
team. Warren Ball.
He's definitely going to pick Alan Wynne-Jones over
It's going to be horrendous. It's going to be the worst squad ever. We're going to have to talk about it, and it's going to be just the most horrendous.
I want to talk about a bad squad. He's going to pick Itoje and AWJ, I reckon, in a row. And then the back row will probably he'll probably pick Josh Navidi, who is playing very well. Falatau and Tiburon.
And probably Ross Moriarty as well.
Moriarty off the bench.
Fourth back row.
Scrum half, who knows who's going to play, but
Thomas
Williams.
We need to do a lot.
Gare Davis, I reckon. He's actually. I think he actually probably should be the starting 9. He is the best. Nah, mate, bigger. Jonathan Davies at 12.
Jonathan Davies. He's so average.
Jonathan Davies. I thought he played well. Actually,
no, he's so average, mate.
I thought he played
that has not stood out at all this tournament.
No, but I thought in the game yesterday he played better than he has for the rest of the tournament.
George North is.
It'll be Henshaw and North.
Henshaw and North in centres.
Interesting. Yeah, unless Tuolangi comes back.
Yeah, if Tuolangi is back, then
in which case it's going to be Henshaw and Tuolangi, because that centre partnership is scary, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Damien Dialende running into Manu Tuolangi?
You just need physical. You need physicality.
Centre is for the South Africans. Lucanio Am.
Ben Teo, I reckon, in the centres.
Funny if that actually happened.
Get Hugo Monye back on the wing.
Yeah, it actually happened, and he tackled Sonny Bill Williams. He literally dominated him. What happened to Ben Teo?
What happened to someone completely unexpected making? Imagine Sam Simmons makes the Lions squad. Imagine that.
What actually happened to Ben Teo? Like, I thought he was the answer to our problems at centre. He bumper-clasted Sonny Bill Williams on the Lions tour.
Bumper-clasted him.
He dominated. He dominated Sonny Bill Williams on Lions tour. He just wasn't selected for England really after that. Why?
Yeah.
I hate
Lions is actually. I was actually thinking about it. The Lions is the best thing in rugby. I reckon. I just think it is the best thing in rugby. I actually think it's so insane. It's such when we haven't when it was coming up to the World Cup, we did not talk about the World Cup squad nearly as much as this, did we? Because it's just kind of like we kind of.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mark, because I was like,
who's going to be in the World Cup squad for England and etc. Whereas this is you have no idea.
We're gonna win,
and you can have.
I was actually explaining the concept of a Lions tour to one of my friends who has no idea about rugby and just loves football. Yeah. And they were like, that sounds sick. You think about it, like combining four nations to make one super team to play the best team in the world. It's actually quite sick.
I love the Lions, man. Just can't wait for it. It's better. If it's happening in England, we should get tickets. Actually, that'd be sick. We could live stream from the Lions
stadium.
We could be part of the Sea of Red. Have you guys got
live stream the game from the stadium?
Have you guys got Lions shirts ready?
Yeah, I've got a Lions shirt.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Man, no.
I think
we should definitely do a Lions, like an actual Lions episode. We did one like last year, didn't we? But we need to do a revised one because I think our teams would be so different.
Yeah, 100%. We can compare them as well.
What was our team? Shall I try and find it?
Yeah, we'll do it in another episode.
Yeah. Not right now,
Ed. Right. That about does it for this episode of Much Ado About Rugby. If you did like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help us out. It got a bit intense there in the middle, but we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Rugby.